The story of the Canton Law Department, much like the story of Canton itself, is told through its leaders. Its recent history reflects the influence of Canton's ethnic heritage. Harry Clyde, an icon of the Greek community, seized control of the law department in the 1970s. Though time has faded our memories, these men have led the law department over the arc of time. It wasn't until 1988, however, we see the Italian influence and what would further define the office as being one of family. Throughout the 1980s, the skills of many leaders have origins on the 7th floor of City Hall. Many, such as Gwynn, Hoffman, Reinbold, Horowitz, Poulos, and Forcioni, have gone on to give back to the community through the judiciary. Some were in it for themselves. Others, such as Chesler, Martuccio, Bates, Gardato, and Reese, have the common distinction of earning second place in the judicial race. Wait a minute. Chesler, you didn't even make it through the primary. The journey of Joe Martuccio began just 1 week shy of 65 years ago on April 21st, 1953 in Girard, Ohio, as the son of hard-working Italian parents, Vincent and Mary Martuccio. His mind and body were tempered by the hard-scrabble existence of a 1960s steel town. The refinement of his mind and legal skills were another journey which started at Youngstown State University. Joe would then heed the call to go west, young man. This journey would have no purpose, far less meaning had it not been for the lovely Pamela Michaels. In what would be the best decision of his life, they married on June 17th of 1977, a ceremony that was officiated by Jesus' younger brother, Rusty, just before they embarked to Spokane, Washington, and Gonzaga Law School. All lawyers look back at their law school days and feel revulsion at the experience. Here is a brief glimpse of that brain surgery.
You come in here with a skull full of mush, and you leave thinking like a lawyer.
It comes as no surprise that the early part of Joe's career found him advocating zealously in the noble pursuit of justice for the downtrodden and indigent. But the watershed moment in our story begins in 1988, when Joe began this 20-year journey in the Canton Law Department. He was later hired by who would be known in elective office circles as Landslide Tom Burnaby. With the arrival of the new millennium, seismic change was on the horizon. The bonds of family consecrated under the reign of Don Burnaby were still strong. But in this world of politics, the transfer of power is rarely without conflict or challenge. Sometimes it means all-out war. Serious men doing serious work would ponder.
How bad do you think it's going to be?
Pretty goddamn bad. Probably all the other families will line up against us. That's all right. This has got to happen every 5 years or so. 10 years. Helps to get rid of the bad blood. Been 10 years since the last.
We saw a Joe Martuccio that was rarely seen. So rare, in fact, we couldn't locate a picture. But as they say, elections have consequences. And so the family now embrace the era of Don Martuccio. And so Joe will ruminate on the highlights of the ensuing 18 years.
Joe, you've been the law director since the year 2000. How would you characterize how your office staff was during that period of time and the environment in the office of the law department?
Well, after they all got off parole, believing in ban the box as we do, we went through a lot together. I would characterize it as a fairly drama-free 18 years.
Would you say everybody worked as a team?
No.
Joe, as a peacemaker to the office, fake news. There was more drama in the law department than the Kardashians. And it wasn't the law department, it was the brawl department, because all we did was fight every day. I fought with Steve Ledico. Bernie Hunt choked attorney Vic Helling. Craig Chesler got into a fight at pretrials with Jerry Golub. I got a fight with Steve Ledico, that was fight 2. Craig Chesler got in a fight with Jerry Golub in the lobby. And by the way, that's the only fight that's on tape. Ty Hartz and Gino Byrne got into a fight on the golf trip from the law department. And the fighting didn't end there. Jason Reese got in a fight with Jeff Hopt. Then Bernie Hunt got in another fight with Mike Miller, the service director, and it didn't stop with the men. Dina got in a fight with her kids every day. Even Joanne, the lovely administrative assistant, one day got in a fight with somebody, and then she looked at me and said, he had it coming. And lastly, I got in a fight with John Corey once a month. That's because that's the only day he came in once a month. So I don't know about this harmony that I'm hearing about. Let's not candy coat this. Joe's from Youngstown. They say if you hit us, we hit you. So I was there for all the hits, but I got out and ran for office before it all came down.
There was not a lot of being able to enforce order.
We managed to work our way through some things that I think were helpful to a lot of people that were fairly low-key, like saving people a lot of money with gas aggregation. We were the first in Stark County to do that, and then electric aggregation, saving people and small businesses money. And in terms of staff, one of the first major events that we went through together as this work family was September 11th. That was only about a year after I was appointed to become the law director. And as everyone remembers, it was a beautifully clear, sunny pre-fall day. And we experienced that, obviously, together, which is kind of a hallmark of what I'd like to think we've done here as a family. When you're a work family, you spend most of your time together, most of your waking time. You go through a lot of things together, a lot of life events. People hiring in, good times, bad times, sad, happy, promotions, passing the bar, not passing the bar, people getting married, people getting divorced, having kids, losing parents, grandparents, retiring. We've been lucky enough to have a lot of people retire from here. So I'd say we, as a sort of makeshift family, including our dysfunctions, managed to do a lot of work for a lot of officials and the public, and accomplish things I think that were not quite so dramatic, like the gas aggregation, but crafting many ordinances, helping with a lot of litigation that would otherwise have been farmed out. So I think we've managed to serve our constituents fairly well.
As a lawyer, what was your style, and how did you act as mentor to the staff members that you had?
Kim Perez once told me, as he helped me get the appointment to this office, that my greatest strength was probably one of my weaknesses, and that he said was my kindness. I've always tried to live, it sounds corny, according to the golden rule, treating others the way you'd like to be treated.
So when Joe came in, I didn't know what kind of style to expect. And as you remember, I think, Craig, we had a practice where we would put all the letters and documents that the attorneys in the civil department had formulated into a folder and circulate those to people. And I was fairly new in the law profession, and I was fairly aggressive, as you probably remember. And I would write a letter, I'm taking you to court, I'm going to kidnap your firstborn child, I'm going to set some civil 11 sanctions up for you. And Joe would get a hold of my letters, and he would call me in his office, and he would say, well, Kathy, let's work on this. Is there some way we can't change your letter to turn it into a mediation? Maybe we can go out to lunch with this party. Maybe we can have coffee or tea with this party. Let's see if we can't calm these letters down a little bit. So it got to be that I would say Joe would pussify my letters, and that got to be a kind of a standard practice. Joe would call me in and I'd say, hey, Joe, are you ready to pussify another one of my letters?
So I guess I would say it was sort of a laid-back, respectful, efficient way of doing things.
Very good. And as law director, you face daily deadlines and demands on your time that filled your day. How did you succeed despite your apparent dislike of the first 3 hours of the normal business day?
An early bird I've not been. Again, this is a team. We succeeded as a team. Over the 30 years I've been in this office, I came here in 1988. Obviously, the last 18 as a law director, but by working as a team, we've always bounced a lot of things off each other that were new or challenging. and just setting routines. My routine involved coming in late and staying late, sometimes on weekends, so I could have that quiet time to dig into those things that took a little more thought.
Now, we would be remiss if we didn't recognize Joe's love of performance art. Just Google Canton's most famous thespian. No, wait, that's thespian with a T.
Those who know Joe know of his love for the theater. For many years, Dick, and many performances, you were on stage with him. Can you share some of your reminiscences?
Well, it seems like most of my reminiscences was, of course, the Andersonville trials, although I did see him in some of the other plays, Inherit the Wind, in which he was to speak, with a bit of a southern drawl. I saw him certainly in A Christmas Carol, where he was to have been speaking English, but with an English accent. And then in the Andersonville trials, he was a former Prussian army officer that got sucked into the Civil War, so to speak. Joe never seemed to distinguish quite correctly between London, England, Prussia, and Tennessee. It always seemed as if Joe had the same projection, whether it was in whatever play it was in. It was, "Hey, Tiny Tim, how are you?" And then in Andersonville trials, "You badger me, you badger me." And it was supposed to be different dialects, but it always ended up seeming to be the same one. I'm told that over the years, as Joe grew older too, that when he was in the play of A Christmas Carol, that no child could ever do it 2 years in a row because the child would gain too much weight for Joe to pick up and carry on his shoulders. So Joe has about 30 or 40 little Cratchit kids running around out there. Their hearts are broken because Joe couldn't lift an extra 5 pounds the next year. And so he would send these kids out into the street to make a living selling pencils, while Joe apparently would sit around and eat the Christmas goose. So, but we will all remember Joe and his deep commitment to the arts and to the plays. And I say to you, good luck in retirement, Joe. Good luck to you, my son.
Joe, with all humor aside, I think I speak for those associated with the law department, both past and present, to say how immensely grateful we are for the opportunity that you've provided. The opportunity for professional development, the opportunity for your friendship and your kind and caring ways as our boss, the opportunity to be part of what truly was a family, where your leadership provided an example for those who operate in public service. But most of all, Joe, I just wanted to say, what I value most is how you showed appreciation of others, those who worked for you. Others can demand results by intimidation or threats, but you always brought out the best in everyone, with your respect and appreciation for efforts and your respect and appreciation for the person. For that, we thank you. You've made a lot of people successful, and you are a success. I'd like to share a quote with you that I think embodies you more than anyone else. That man is a success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has gained the respect of intelligent men and the love of children, who has fulfilled his niche and accomplished his task, who leaves this world a better place than he found it, whether by a legal task well done, an inspired performance, or a sympathetic ear, who never lacks an appreciation for Earth's beauty or fails to express it, who looked for the best in others and gave the best he had. Good luck in retirement, Joe.